What's good? Mad Pill. Hit that like button. Subscribe to notifications. Yeah. Let's get to it. What's good? We are in. Now, hold on. Let me make sure I'm connected to Facebook. Excuse me. And the YouTube. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Whoever, if y'all celebrate Labor Day, I don't know. If you barbecue, did whatever today, you enjoyed your day like I did. I've been going to different places, getting different plates. Yep. Hold on, let me make sure. I am in Facebook connected. I see I'm in YouTube. Good. Everybody in the chat, you know what to do. You know what we do here in Mad Peel. Shout out where you from. Make sure you keep on tapping that like button. If you in the groups on, hold on, let me see. All right, that's good. Celebrating R. Kelly group on Facebook, sharing that group. There are a lot of people up in here in that group. Yeah. We got a few things we're gonna want to cover today. We got some audio recordings from jail audio recordings. Not jail audio recordings, but court audio recordings, excuse me, court audio recordings. Arguments, and some argument in R. Kelly's appeals court. I don't know if I'm gonna be playing the correct audio from that exact date, but y'all help me out if I am. It's gonna be, I'm gonna be looking through. I found a few audios that could be the audio from his latest appeals, Jennifer Bonjean. I'm gonna play the first one. Let's make sure I'm shared. Y'all keep hitting that like button. Get more people up in here. More people, the more the merrier. Let me make sure I'm tapping everybody in. Y'all, and stay tuned. Hit the notifications. I got a hip hop legend. What I'll probably be announcing who it is later on this week. A hip hop legend I'm going to be interviewing. Be the first to be here live in that chat. A hip hop legend. Guess who it is? Yeah, y'all got to stay tuned to find out who it is. I will be interviewing. And we had a dancer, R. Kelly, dancer, who's in the last live. Hopefully she be here today. She was supposed to come, get on live with us and tell us a few things. But hopefully she's on this live tonight. We get on this live. I got that the StreamYard already on deck. I got the StreamYard. You hit that and you can join the live. So I got that on deck. I got that ready just in case we see her in the room. Hey, it may be many things happening on this live. Y'all make sure y'all share and like and share. Like and share. I'm about to play some court audio. R. Kelly. Give me a second. But first, before I do this. Oh man. I will play this. This is funny. Funny, funny, funny.
It's a conspiracy. Jay-Z was out to get me. I would be free if it wasn't for Jay-Z. No, I'm not an angel, but everyone got dirt. Yes, I'm a flirt.
Look. You can't play R. Kelly regular music on here. I had 35,000 unreleased songs I can play and get for R. Kelly and not get copyright strike.
It's not a fair game. We did best of both worlds, but the show turned into hell. You had your voice beat me, but in turn I acted professionally. I took it to court and won 175 million, son. Jay didn't want to pay, so they put me in this cage. It's not a fair game, so they needed me out the way. So Jay didn't have to pay. Jay-Z and Diddy, Jay and Diddy, out to get me. Break the cycle, start anew. Cause deep inside the fire burns true. Leave behind the rusted bars, shine bright like those ancient stars. With every strum we chart our rise, liberty rings beneath these open skies. I just wanna be free, free from these chains. Will I ever see sunlight again? Wanna be free, free to be with my family, be free to build bridges, be free in the open air, so free
Hit that like button. Hit the like button, y'all. Hit that like button. Where y'all at? Who all in the chat? Let it be known. If you want to chat, let it be known. Got 17 people up in here. Who in the chat? We're gonna get to it. If you in Facebook, hit that bottom link. Hit the bottom link of the screen. You can go right to my YouTube. Go to the YouTube, hit that bottom link. Let it be known who you is.
DJ Go Lucky.
Yeah, that was D. R. Kelly, Jay-Z dish. That's a oh and he did Diddy on that too. I mean that How many of y'all heard that before? How many of y'all seen that before? Oh man, that was pretty funny to me. Whoever made that, I mean, whew, man. All right. Now this Court of Appeals. Jeff was good. Was good, Jeff. Now, Jennifer Bonjean has presented. Yeah, right now I know. I know that's not Kale's music. I just seen it. It's funny as hell. What's up, Constance? What's good? Hmm. Oh yeah. Hell yeah, Jeff. Want to bump some new music? Hit your link. Jeff got some good mute, man. Jeff, uh, hit the link where they can hit your music. I'm gonna have you on one of Northwest Indiana's finest in the building. For real. Yeah. Tell them where they can reach you at, Jeff. Hey, everybody in Facebook, come on up in Rodney was good. Come on up in YouTube. Hit that dot bottom. Everybody's in YouTube. Got 25 people up in YouTube. Hit the link at the bottom of the screen. And you can at the top of the comments, I got the link where you can join the live a little bit later on. But everybody, yeah, where you from? Where y'all from? Constance, Rodney. I don't know how to pronounce that. Your first name, Well, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I just say your last name, Rodney. Yep. Yep. Hit that link. Check out Jeff. I got interviews coming up with Midwest Finest interviews, a bunch of them. Jeff, you want my list too. I got a hip hop legend I'm interviewing in the next few weeks. Y'all stay tuned, hit that like button. Y'all stay tuned for the legend, hip hop legend I'm gonna be interviewing in the next few weeks. Oh yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna play one more before I play this recording real fast. I'm gonna put it's 35,000 songs from R. Kelly. Hold on, let me see. 35,000 songs from R. Kelly unreleased. That that was a
Werther's soft, hard, and chewy caramels. Discover the original fall flavor.
Oh, yeah. We ain't gonna get hit with no copyright.
Weekend has a Friday game, and it's
I found on YouTube.
Let's do this. Yeah.
I can't get hit with no copyright for this one.
You're here, but you're not in a digital track. But you gotta let go. Join the party's map. Stop rejecting fun. Come and get some. Let's start living it up. Yeah. Let's start living it up. Yeah. Let's get along. By the wall. By the wall.
Girl, come on, bounce with us. With these that bounce, we're gonna have a ball, cause we're living it up. Cause we're living it up. Living it up. No more fronting. Cause we're living it up. Let's start living it up. Let's start living it up. No more fronting.
Right. We're gonna hop right on to this. Now, I just had to play a few songs. I had to play a few songs for all this. Hit that like button. Y'all keep hitting the like button. Now, this is an audio from R. Kelly. The court audio. I'm gonna play the first audio from the argument. I know y'all want to hear it. Hold on, let me play this. Now I'm gonna play this first. I think this whole thing is like 50 something minutes or so, like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I ain't. Y'all give me one. I got two different ones. I'm gonna play this first one. And y'all tell me if y'all heard this one before.
How do you pronounce your name? Bonjean. All right. Ms. Bonjean, you have reserved 3 minutes for rebuttal, so that gives you 7 minutes out of the gate.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
May it please the court. My name is Jennifer Bonjean, and I represent Robert Kelly. Like every RICO indictment seemingly in history, the government charged the defendant with being the member of an enterprise that had a common purpose of carrying out an illegal or illicit activity.
Well, I guess I'm trying to understand. Are you challenging the jury instruction, which didn't say that the RICO enterprise had to have an illegal purpose?
No, Your Honor, I'm not challenging the jury instruction, nor could the jury instruction be challenged. The jury instruction is entirely consistent with United States versus Boyle. In fact, it's almost word for word the same jury instruction. And in Boyle, as this court may recall, where the enterprise or the instruction was challenged, even though it wasn't set out with specificity what the structure of the enterprise should be, the Boyle court said that's fine. It doesn't have to be. The jury doesn't have to be instructed with that level of specificity. In this case,
but you're arguing, it seems to me, that absent an illegal purpose, there can be no RICO enterprise.
Yes, because it would make nonsense of the statute.
Okay, but is it so? I guess A, what's the authority for that, and B, isn't that really a challenge to the jury instruction?
I don't believe it is. I think that.
Well, did the district court tell the jury that they had to find an illegal purpose, so there could be no enterprise?
No, but the indictment did, and the indictment was incorporated.
No, the indictment listed a series of purposes.
Yeah, series of purposes pled in the conjunctive, and the jury instruction, which had the indictment incorporated into it, pled that there were 4 different purposes, 2 of which were legal essentially, and 2 which were illegal.
All right, but I'm asking a basic question to start, which is that if the government had just listed the legal purposes, your view is that that would not be sufficient for a RICO indictment?
No, in fact, district courts routinely dismiss complaints that do not demonstrate that the purpose of the common or the enterprise is illegal in nature. In fact, neither party has been able to find a single case where the purpose of the enterprise was entirely
You're arguing that there was insufficient evidence here to prove an illegal purpose?
Correct, or illicit or fraudulent or some type of
Wasn't there substantial evidence?
No, Your Honor, I respectfully disagree. There was substantial evidence of yes. There was substantial evidence, perhaps, of defendants' wrongdoing in the context or using, quote unquote, the machinery of his organization, his entourage, those types of individuals. But there was very little evidence, almost and certainly not sufficient to meet the government's burden of proof, that any of those individuals acted with this common purpose to, quote, recruit women for Mr. Kelly for illegal sexual activity or for the production of child pornography.
So I'd like to just make sure I understand. It sounds to me as though you're making a legal argument that a RICO enterprise has to have an illegal purpose, as well as that here an illegal purpose was charged, but there was insufficient evidence of it.
Yes, Your
Is
Honor,
that right?
that's correct. That is precisely right.
And I want to understand, in light of Turquette, why we have to find an illegal purpose as well. I mean, there's language in Satinwood, and most of the cases that have been cited and discussed are in the context of a fraudulent purpose that may have some legitimate enterprise around it. But there's room for confusion there. But Turquette seems to say quite directly that the term enterprise as used in RICO encompasses both legitimate and illegitimate enterprises. So maybe you could help me.
Yes, the issue isn't whether it was a legitimate organization, a legal entity versus a non-legal entity. Turquette held, and the question before Turquette was the exact opposite, whether a RICO enterprise could be exclusively criminal, not whether it could be exclusively legal. And our position is that this was an organization that the government failed to prove had any criminal purpose. The government takes the position that for a RICO enterprise to exist, it need not be rooted in criminality at all, which would fly in the face of Turquette, frankly. Turquette looked at Congress's intent, both the statement of...
Didn't the government prove that one of the purposes of this enterprise was to recruit girls so that Kelly could have illegal sexual activity with them?
They pled it, they did not prove it. What they did prove is that through the course of a period of time, there were perhaps efforts to pass along information, a phone number, to invite someone backstage. There was no evidence presented that any of those individuals did so believing or knowing that someone was underage, that you go to a big concert, there are 17, 18, 19-year-olds. Even the victims themselves said, well, nobody asked me for my age. When the age came about, perhaps Mr. Kelly may have known, and that's what I think some of the women testified to. But there was no evidence that anyone went out there saying, may I find out what your age is? Are you underage? Come back. We want to serve you up to Mr. Kelly. That just didn't happen. And in fact, there is extraordinary evidence that the members of the enterprise, again, these are some of the people, I guess, that testified, repeatedly made it clear that what happened behind closed doors was not something they understood. Yes, there were rules and things they did, these anodyne tasks that were perhaps a little unusual, but not that put them on notice that what was happening behind closed doors was illegal. And we are talking about matters that happen behind closed doors. The fact that a video recorder existed in a bedroom does not ipso facto make it evidence that there is child pornography.
You're saying these other individuals didn't know that these girls were underage?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think the evidence that was presented to the jury was deficient in that regard, that there was so much excessive evidence, frankly, about Mr. Kelly's wrongdoing that it would be easy to be tempted to go down the path. Well, everybody must have known. But that is just not what was demonstrated at trial. And
the appearance of these girls would be evidence enough, wouldn't it?
These were not 12-year-olds. These were not 13-year-olds. There were some example. What was testified to is that some of them looked young. And having multiple teenagers myself, looking young does not mean you know someone is a minor. And the question becomes, did they have an obligation to ask? Did they have to do due diligence, do inquiry? When he said, just go pick somebody up. Again, just using individuals, unwitting individuals, who perhaps even turned a blind eye or who didn't inquire further, does not a RICO enterprise exist. And I would leave with this point that, simply speaking, I mean, I won't leave with it, but
Sorry, so the Supreme Court has to look at the hold on, man. But the fact it was a RICO act. Hit that like button. That's one of the reasons why I stopped. Hit the like button. Hit that like button. Hit the like button.
The law presumes in Turquette, which was an entirely criminal enterprise, they weren't speaking to the question of whether it could be a legal enterprise with a one man doing illegal acts in the context of the enterprise and using his employees. So Turquette does not, from where we stand, put this issue to rest. And what the government wants to do is simply read out of the statute organized crime. And at the end of the day,
They want to read out organized crime? What do you say?
Yes, because the purpose of the statute, the RICO statute, is to address organized crime. Now,
It's not in the text, though, right? When you say read it out, right?
The definition of organized crime is not in the text of the statute. And in fact, courts have universally read organized crime very liberally, very broadly. And we're not quarreling with that. But you can't just have an organization that is not associated with any crime. Simply speaking, a RICO enterprise is a criminal organization. You can define it broadly, but is not an organization simply with a criminal. And that is what the government.
Right. They made R. Kelly the organization. Who else got arrested besides R. Kelly? I remember that. Who else got arrested besides R. Kelly for this thing? This RICO, they gave him 30 years.
Is asking the court to find here. I believe my time has expired.
But I mean, you're not challenging the jury instructions. So you're agreeing that everything the district court told the jury they needed to find was correct, right?
Your Honor, the jury instructions were consistent with every jury instruction ever given in a RICO case historically. And frankly, is consistent with what the United States Supreme Court held in Boyle. I don't know how.
So the jury wasn't asked to read out portions of the statute. The
Again,
jury was correctly instructed. I'm trying to figure out. You're saying that the evidence didn't support the elements that were correctly instructed to the jury.
What I'm saying, Your Honor, is that the government had an obligation, and in fact, the jury was instructed that the government had to prove the theory of the enterprise. The theory of the enterprise included criminal conduct that was pled in the conjunctive. And if it had been just simply legal activity pled in that indictment, it would have been dismissed. Because routinely, again, and we cite numerous cases, as does the government, district courts simply do not allow RICO prosecutions or RICO suits to move forward where you don't have an actual fraud or illegal or illicit activity that is that is the common purpose. This would be outside the realm of, again, contrary to the purpose.
Back on the issue of whether the staff knew the age, sometimes the staff booked the travel arrangements for them, and therefore they had to have identification documents. Isn't that evidence that they knew they were underage?
I think if you look closely at the record, you will see that the government was very clever, frankly, of conflating these issues where I do not believe there was any evidence that a employee booked travel for someone who was in fact under the age of consent. So you have to remember.
Hold on for advertisement. Hit that cash app at the bottom. $1 will get you a membership special. A membership special get you the total package, everything, secret videos, little videos that I do on the side. Yeah, you'll get the total package. You hit that $1 at the cash app. Let's go.
In Illinois, the age of consent is 17. It only becomes a federal crime if it's being videotaped. Now, do these people know what's happening in the bedroom? No, there is no evidence that
Wasn't there evidence that the staff made sure that in his backpack he had his iPad and recording equipment? The evidence doesn't show that?
It shows that people picked up his luggage. I mean, people pick up my luggage. I pick up other people's luggage. Am I responsible for what's in that luggage? It just takes this to the point of absurdity. We cannot say an enterprise exists because unwitting employees are engaging in normal tasks that they do, particularly for high-profile people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Bensing?
May it please the court, Assistant United States Attorney Kayla Bensing on behalf of the government. Good morning, Your Honors. I want to start with the defendant's challenge to his RICO conviction and what constitutes an enterprise. As the district court stated at the sentencing in this case, the defendant had a system in place that lured young people into his orbit and then he took over their lives. And so I want to start with this claim that was made in the reply brief and is made today before the court, that the enterprise members or that the defendant used his inner circle to simply carry out anodyne activities. Demetrius Smith, the defendant's...
What evidence is there in the record that the staff who arranged these things knew that they were underage?
Yes, Your Honor. So in September of 1994, I'll start there with the victim, Addie, who testified. She testified that she was 17. She was invited by Kelly's bouncers to come backstage at a concert in Miami. That was 3 days after Kelly's marriage to Aaliyah, in which he bribed a county official in order to hide or alleviate the consequences of illegal sexual activity. And obviously members of his enterprise arranged for that bribery.
See, this is all beyond the statutes of limitations. We're talking about in the 90s right here.
So we're well aware of that illegal sexual activity. A few years later, in 1998, Stephanie, who was the victim named in Racketeering Act 2, was approached at a McDonald's by a member of Kelly's entourage. He asked how old she was. She told him that she was 16. Kelly's associate then gave her Kelly's phone number and said Kelly wanted her to call him. This is the same girl who at 17 was instructed by Kelly to give him oral sex in the backseat of a car and to be vocal and make noise while doing so, so that Kelly's driver and another individual who were present in the car could hear, which was a obviously deeply humiliating experience for her. Turning next to Nicholas Williams, he was one of the defendant's runners beginning in 2003. He answered phones and escorted Kelly's girlfriends inside of Kelly's studios, and he testified that Kelly's female guests were very young, keeping in mind that he was 19 at the time. He also testified that he could hear sexual activity and yelling between the defendant and his female guests. The jury is entitled to infer from that Kelly's employees helped maintain and facilitate Kelly's contact, including sexual contact, with these underage women. I want to also turn to Anthony Navarro's testimony. He was another one of the runners employed by Kelly. Navarro, who started working for Kelly in 2007, specifically identified that he would help answer phones for Kelly's girlfriends. That was his word, and there was some claim in the reply brief that these were just female guests, but he testified using the word girlfriends. And he identified them as looking very young, specifically mid-aged teenagers. And the jury heard testimony from Duranda about how she recognized Navarro as one of Kelly's runners who she interacted with when she was 16 years old, being sexually abused by Kelly. In addition, there's Cheryl Mack. She was Kelly's assistant beginning in approximately 2013. She repeatedly saw Kelly with 17-year-old Jane. She had booked travel for Jane as early as April 2015, so she knew Jane's age. And a couple months later, in July 2015, she testified that she observed Jane going to perform oral sex on Kelly. There's also Suzette Mayweather's testimony. She learned that Jane was 17 years old in the fall of 2015. She knew that Jane was one of Kelly's girlfriends. She observed her following all of the same rules as Kelly's other girlfriends. There's also testimony from Jane about Juice, who was another one of the defendant's girlfriends, whom Jane testified acted as one of the defendant's assistants. Juice helped teach Jane rules, and Juice also knew Jane's age. I believe that's SA 527. So this is all evidence that the jury was entitled to infer that Kelly's inner circle knew what was going on, that he was recruiting and maintaining underage women for sexual activity.
Does the, allegation that Kelly was also inducing these folks to come in violation of state law because he was infected, is there evidence that his entourage or the folks in the enterprise knew about Kelly's status as infected with herpes?
Yes, there is. There's testimony that his assistants picked up his Walgreens records. Anthony Navarro, who was one of the runners, testified that he would pick up Valtrex for Kelly. That's at A467 to 68. Diana Copeland accompanied Anna, who was one of the testifying victims at the trial, to the hospital for her STD test. And only Diana Copeland received the results of that test, not Anna. Juice, again, who Jane testified was like an assistant to Kelly, took
Was
Jane.
there evidence that the staff knew that Kelly wasn't disclosing his condition?
Well, a number of the women, in fact, obtained, got an STD. They were not just exposed to it, but they, in fact, got an STD.
But that doesn't go to the consent question. I mean, if they consented, then it wouldn't be a violation of state law, right? If the girls had consented, knowing that he had herpes, that would not violate state law?
Well, the state law, I believe the state law, the violation is specifically exposing somebody to an STD. The jury was instructed that R. Kelly did not also give consent in those, that they did not give consent in those circumstances. So that was part of the jury instruction.
Right, so my question is, was there evidence that the staff knew that there was lack of consent?
Well, I don't think that there was direct testimony on that, but I do think that a jury, drawing all inferences in the government's favor, was entitled to infer that from the evidence that did exist. And again, just to complete the record on that, about the testimony by Jane about Juice, that Juice took Jane to see a doctor in downtown Chicago, and she was prescribed medication for her herpes infection. I also, though, want to talk about another illegal sexual activity for which there is tons of enterprise evidence that that Kelly has not really raised on appeal at all, and that is forced labor. That the defendant obtained labor and services here, sex acts, through threats of serious harm or physical restraint against the victims. And the evidence is replete with examples of how tightly tied the forced labor charges and the predicate acts were to the enterprise.
So I'm a little concerned about applying the forced labor statute in this context, because it seems that you run the risk of really sexualizing or federalizing all kinds of state sexual assault and being able to turn it into federal offenses with much different consequences for the individuals. Can you address that concern?
Yes, of course. And I would just return the court to the plain language of 18 U.S.C. Section 1589A, which prohibits whoever knowingly provides or obtains the labor or services of a person by any number of combination of the then subsections of that, which includes a scheme, plan, or pattern intended to cause the person to believe that if the person did not perform that labor or services, the person or person would suffer serious harm or physical restraint.
So wouldn't that apply to any kind of rape prosecution?
So I don't think the court has to reach the outer boundaries of what the statute may or may not apply to in this case, because there was a clear pattern that was far beyond something like a one-time rape. So for the specific victims,
but in some cases we are talking about just one or two instances, right?
Well, I don't think so. So as to Geronda, what was charged was a specific instance as to the forced labor. But of course, there was an entirety of the pattern that led up to that specific incident where he choked her, he spit on her, and then he made her perform oral sex on him. What led up to that was a whole series of Kelly enforcing his rules, teaching her the rules, enforcing the rules, and then punishing her.
Do you think we should focus on the actions that constituted the force as opposed to the labor that was forced?
Well, I think as to labor and service, under this court's definitions of those recently in Ranieri and recently in Marcus, sexual activity, I think, clearly falls within the definition of the expenditure of physical or mental effort, especially when fatiguing, difficult, or compulsory, the performance of work commanded or paid for by another. And of course, in the context of prostitution, I think that the court would have no issue finding that that constitutes forced labor. And here, this is no different. A sex act is a sex act.
But what about a single one? What about a single rape?
Well, again, I don't think that the court has to reach the question of the sort of the outer boundaries of that question about a single rape. I guess what I would say is here, the conduct has met the elements of forced labor, and I think even the district court noted in its opinion that this was the kind of case where the defendant had a pattern in place of making these women feel isolated and ashamed, and he used the enterprise to make them feel like they were confined and that they had no way out. There was an expert who testified at trial as well about the defendant's use of these isolation.
Right, but the issue is the labor component, it seems to me. So what does the isolation have to do with labor? It might all be true, but where's their labor?
Well, I'm just pointing the court to the other portion of Section 1589, addressing the court's question as to whether a single rape could constitute forced labor. I think here, sexual activity can constitute labor or services.
Right, we know that. Ranieri says that. What about the facts here? This is very different than Ranieri, right?
Well, I think in many ways it is similar. For example, the women were forced to give over collateral. Geronda, who was one of the victims of the forced labor charge, testified about how she had to write false letters. Faith also was forced to send a text
But is
message.
that the labor? So writing false letters is the labor?
No, the labor.
I mean,
would
Ranieri,
be,
these folks were doing other things. They were doing things for free, right? That would be easily described as labor. Some of it sexual, some of it not.
Well, again, I think that people pay money for work on websites. People pay money for transcribing tapes and reviewing articles, and people pay money for sex. So I think under the definition that this court has given in Ranieri.
So I think that's where we're back again. You keep saying we don't need to go to the outer boundary, but it seems to me your argument is any sex acts, including a rape, is forced labor.
I believe that sexual activity does count under this court's definition of labor and service. And again, I would just note that, of course, the other provisions of the forced labor statute would also have to be met. And that may be where there's a limiting principle in terms of whether a single rape would constitute forced labor, because the whole other part of the statute would have to be met, which includes, as relevant to this case, the use of the means of any scheme, plan, or pattern intended to cause the person to believe that if they didn't perform the labor and services, that person or another person would suffer serious harm or physical restraint. And so that brings me back, I think, to sort of my initial point, which is, and I see that I'm over my time, so I can continue to address sort of the record evidence.
Go ahead. There are a lot of issues here, so we may want to get to some others too.
Okay, so just very briefly, I think the record is replete with evidence that the enterprise was tightly tied to the facilitation of the forced labor predicate acts in this case. Members of the inner circle heard Kelly beating his girlfriends. They knew that Kelly was isolating his victims, and they helped him do it, including by enforcing his punishments, such as watching over them while they were confined to a bus for prolonged periods of time. There's testimony about that from the Mayweather sisters, from Diana Copeland, and employees were punished when they didn't comply. There were financial sanctions when they, for example, Copeland testified that she let Anna escape. And so I have numerous other examples of that, but if the court has questions about any of the other charges.
I'd like to ask about restitution.
Yes.
And about, it seemed to me that the record was weak, that Kelly infected Jane and the second young woman with herpes in states where the exposure was illegal. And I wondered if what the government's position is on that. If Kelly gave Jane herpes in the state where the exposure was legal, but someplace other than New York or California, do you agree that she would not be entitled to restitution?
Well, I think the record here establishes that the first time that Jane had sex with Kelly, so her first exposure to the STD was when she was in California, and that was the basis for that particular racketeering act and for the charge as well. And so that was the first time that she was exposed. She subsequently, later that summer, tested positive for having herpes. And so I think that the record has demonstrated that the crime was exposing her to herpes, and there's direct causation that she then later contracted herpes. And just to close the gap, she also testified that she had not been with any other sexual partners at that time. Mm-hmm. So I think here we do have direct and proximate causation, and of course, the district court had the facts to make that determination.
Uh-huh.
And as to Stephanie, so she had filed, I believe she filed a letter with the district court indicating that the defendant had exposed her with herpes, and that was part of the sentencing record. But in addition, the government had referenced a report of investigation, an interview that she had given to HSI agents that during the time that she was with Kelly, he never wore a condom.
Yeah, let me go back. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes.
Yes.
But wasn't by the time that Kelly met Jane, wasn't he on Valtrex by then?
So the testimony was that, first of all, herpes can be transmitted even while you are taking Valtrex. That was part of the expert's testimony in this case. And there was also testimony that his use of Valtrex was very inconsistent. So there's testimony from his doctor that the doctor would prescribe 11 months of Valtrex, and then 4 months later, he'd have to be prescribing more Valtrex. So I think there's testimony from which the district court could conclude that he was not taking Valtrex as it was prescribed, which simply increases even more the risk that he could transmit herpes to
And this
Jane.
is applying a preponderance standard.
Exactly, of course, Your Honor.
Okay. So if you could address Stephanie now.
Yes, thank you so much. So in this report of investigation from HSI, which the government referenced in its letter seeking restitution for Stephanie, we represented that the only person that she was with was Kelly at that time, and that was in 1999. Of course, in 2000, Kelly did have a negative culture for herpes, but there was testimony from both his doctor and the expert witness in this case that it is actually quite frequent that you might get a negative culture even when you have herpes, because the timing of that test.
And there was evidence that she was having sexual relations with no one else?
Correct. That was part of the report of investigation that the district court had before it. There was a specific 3500 piece that was referenced.
Thank you.
Can I ask you, I guess, to come back to what I think is a legal point? Do you agree with Ms. Bonjean that there has to be an illegal purpose in order to establish an enterprise, which is really the first element of the RICO claim?
No, I think as we have made very clear in our brief, that is nowhere in the text of the statute, that is nowhere in the Supreme Court's precedent, and in fact, there is precedent in this circuit that does not require any sort of illegal common purpose, and specifically the court's opinion in Daddario, but also a recent summary order in this circuit in the Ranieri case. In that case, there was a completely legal common purpose that was alleged, and this court found that was completely sufficient.
Right, and then I guess the next question is that I think Ms. Bonjean's argument is that when you've decided to charge an enterprise with a list or a series of purposes, her view is you have to prove them all beyond a reasonable doubt, or you haven't proved the enterprise in question.
Well, the jury instructions, in fact, stated that the government is not required to prove each and every allegation about the enterprise or the manner in which the enterprise operated. The enterprise must be essentially the one that was alleged in the indictment. And for all of the reasons I started with today, the enterprise was the one that was alleged.
Well, I guess that's the question. Is it essentially the one charged in the indictment if the jury only finds 3 of the 4 purposes proven beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, I absolutely think that it is. It's not like there's some sort of unfair surprise that R. Kelly's enterprise was the Gambino crime family. I think if the court looks at the definition of the enterprise in the indictment, the means and the methods used by the enterprise, those were proved by the government at trial. And so I think that there is sort of no way on this record, and I can continue to go through the various factual allegations if the court was like, but I would also reference the court to the district court's very thorough opinion in this case as a place to look for the evidence of the enterprise, which was one I think that was alleged in the indictment. So I think under the factual record, there can be no doubt that the government proved that the enterprise was essentially the one alleged in the indictment.
Right, and nobody asked for a special verdict form that would have the jury identify which purposes were proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Nor that's of course true, and I think that this argument has been thoroughly waived, including by the statements today that the jury instructions were appropriate under both parties' position. But also I think we're talking about the existence of an enterprise, and a common purpose is sort of one sub-element of what constitutes an association impact enterprise. So I don't think that there need to be any sort of special verdict as to which common purpose was proved.
You mean if they all thought that what they were doing was just promoting his brand and music, that the illegal purposes would be irrelevant to the enterprise?
Well, I again, in Raniere, there was a very similar common purpose that was alleged. It was to promote Raniere and to recruit new members into the pyramid organizations. That was the common purpose that was alleged, and this court found that was sufficient. Now here, the government alleged additional common purposes, and the government continues to submit that the proof at trial was overwhelming, and certainly that the jury's verdict should be credited.
The criminality is picked up by the pattern of conduct.
Correct, and also the required nexus between the person acting through the enterprise to commit a pattern of racketeering activity.
Thank you very much. Ms. Benson, we're hearing from Ms. Bonjean for 3 minutes of rebuttal.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll start really briefly with the forced labor issue. Forced labor counts were based on a single act in both cases, Jahanda, an act of oral sex, and in Faith, an act of oral sex. I know the government, again, keeps referring to all of the enterprise activity that they allege is enterprise activity. But at the end of the day, those forced labor counts were premised on a single act. Unless the court is prepared to say that a single act of oral sex, even if it's forced, frankly, constitutes forced labor, that is just making federal law coextensive with state law. And that is one of the problems with that argument, which we did raise in our opening brief. The government is taking the position that a RICO enterprise need not be rooted in criminality. That is what they are saying. And that is a new position that, frankly, is unique and not really supported, including by Daddario, where Daddario...
Well, in Daddario, there was an estate that had to be administered, and there was nothing inherently illegal about that, right?
No, but the court in Daddario did say, in the context of after finding the estate to be an appropriate structure, the exact language was, Daddario found the individual defendants were alleged to assist the executor of the estate to effectuate his schemes. It was an estate that effectuated schemes, an estate that engaged in criminal activity. It was a state that engaged in illicit activity. And so what the government is saying is, in this case, if we merely charged the defendant with an enterprise that's common purpose was simply to promote his music, that would have been A-okay. But I think that is...
Why is that wrong if the government also has to prove a pattern of criminal activity, racketeering activity, and the nexus?
Well, I think in Boyle, the United States...
RICO is looking at organizations that are then used to commit criminal acts. And it doesn't have to be a criminal organization. It could be a completely legitimate organization, but if it engages in racketeering activity, then it violates RICO.
Yes, but first of all, if you look at the racketeering acts, it's defending counties acts. Those are the acts that are charged. There are no acts except perhaps, I guess you could make an argument about Demetrius Smith's conduct after after he learned that there was illegal activity occurring with Aaliyah, allegedly. He's a little much of an outsider, but overwhelmingly, and then I think all of the racketeering acts involve the victims and defendant, not the enterprise, the alleged enterprise.
But I think you're conflating the fifth and the first elements of a RICO claim. The first is just the existence of an enterprise. It can be a labor union, right?
Again, Your Honor, I'm not talking about the ascertainable structure. I'm talking about the structure.
I'm not talking about the ascertainable structure either. I'm talking about the legal entity of a labor union is sufficient for enterprise.
Agreed. It still has to
the
have a
fifth
purpose.
element. No, the fifth element is that the defendant conducted or participated in the conduct of the enterprise through his previously established pattern of racketeering activity. So it has to be a link between what the defendant is doing as a pattern of racketeering activity and the conduct of the enterprise. That's the last element. You seem to be flipping that into the enterprise, and I think that's where you're getting confused.
I don't believe I am. I think the United States Supreme Court in Boyle made it very clear that an enterprise has to be more than just the pattern of racketeering. It has to
Yes,
be.
it has to. Yes, an enterprise has to be demonstrated. An enterprise is defined as an entity, legal or not legal, that has purpose, structure, and form.
Right. And
And
one
history.
I'm sorry.
And history.
Yes. And one of the elements of the structure for an association, in fact, enterprise is a common purpose.
Right, but not an illegal common purpose.
Well, I mean, then we are, then, I mean, again, this is a new approach that would.
I don't think so. I mean, again, you didn't object to the jury instructions. So
I didn't represent Mr. Kelly at trial.
No, I mean, not you personally. Right.
But let me put, I think that that would have been a frivolous objection when every single, including the United States Supreme Court, has said these exact instructions are proper. What has never come up, and because the government has extended the RICO statute to a set of circumstances that's so beyond what the framers intended, which was to get at organized crime. And now we're talking about an organization with an alleged criminal, but not organized crime. And it is not enough simply that there be a pattern of racketeering that satisfies the enterprise. There has to be something more. The pattern of racketeering can be proof of the enterprise, but it cannot simply be the only evidence of the enterprise. And I think if the court looks at the evidence closely, the government conflates a lot of the evidence that came in, but at the end of the day, we are talking about, in a couple instances, some of these victims that testified were very clear that no one asked me my age. And if you're 17 years old in the state of Illinois, it would not necessarily put anyone on notice that what's going to happen is illegal. It's preposterous to suggest that because a runner goes and picks up a famous person's medicine, that puts them on notice that Mr. Kelly is exposing and giving STDs to his partners. And, for example, Cheryl Mack, as an example, she testified very clearly that when she saw some inappropriate conduct with Jane, she quit the next day. That is not evidence that she came together to participate in recruiting girls or producing child pornography. That's evidence that, whoa, this is not what I would approve of, and I'm out of here. So this shows that this was not a collection of people who had a purpose to recruit girls for sexual abuse or for child pornography. Whether they turned a blind eye, whether some of them suspected that some of these girls were underage, that's a whole different matter. And once we get into that sort of territory, we're going to say that constitutes a RICO enterprise. Well, we have a lot of organizations, we have a lot of frat houses, we have all types of organizations that are now going to become RICO enterprises. And that has not been the case. Frankly, if that was the case, it's unclear why Bernie Madoff wasn't prosecuted under a RICO theory, because he certainly was using the machinery of his organization to carry out a RICO enterprise, and yet he wasn't. So I think...
Well, he got 150 years. I don't know that it mattered, but I mean, I guess...
Agreed, but I think there, if you look really closely at the law, these are all cases where it was assumed absolutely the RICO enterprise was criminal or illicit in nature. It would be contrary to the purpose of the statute. No, I agree.
The standard instruction from SAND, which is generally what we look to in this circuit, says an enterprise includes any legal entity such as a partnership, corporation, or association. And then it goes on to describe non-legal entities that may also meet the definition. So your view is that that's a wrong instruction?
My view is that that the instruction was proper in accordance with the way that instruction has been given throughout history in this district and the United States Supreme Court in Boyle. What is problematic is that it is clear that the heart of the purpose of this was illegal activity. That's what was charged. None of this evidence really went to promoting his brand or his music. All of the government's evidence allegedly went towards his illegal activity. So it's kind of disingenuous to say now, oh, well, we just needed to, there needs to be no nexus. We can just say that this was an organization that was out there promoting his music. And oh, by the way, there were, we can call it a RICO enterprise so long as Mr. Kelly is doing these criminal activities and relying on his, again, underlings, whether they know it or not, to facilitate it. And that, I think, is not what was contemplated by the framers of this statute.
All right. Well, thank you both. We will reserve decision. That concludes the arguments on our argument calendar. We will also reserve the two that have.
Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notifications for more videos. Please comment what you think. This live is open. It's an open live tonight. If you want to come into the live, hit that link on top and share your view. Hold on, let me just make sure this. That's that link right there. Let me know what y'all think. I want to know what y'all think. I want to know what y'all think. What's good? Galatians 6:7. Yes. Who in the chat? Oh, we got some more. Don't go nowhere. Okay. Who in the chat? Oh yeah, we got some more. I want to know what y'all think. I said it over and over again, you know. Hold on, let me see who that. Galatians said, I think them judges on the same BS as Donnelly estimation. I think Jennifer made good points. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's some more. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What's good, Rob? What's good, Rob? Rob in the building. Yeah. Yep. See, it's some new lawsuits. R. Kelly has filed, I believe, a lawsuit against, I think it was Azrael. All right. Y'all know Azrael. Let me remind. Cindy was good. What's good, Cindy? Y'all don't know who Azrael is. This is Azrael, one of R. Kelly's girlfriend. It's a lawsuit in December, set for December. I'm gonna see and dig in for more information into that. So he is going after Azrael now. This is one of his girls, his self-proclaimed girl. As y'all know, I did many of laughs with Azrael. You know, get you to notice. You know, it seems as though Azrael is doing pretty good. You know, now seems as though she's making some money. She's making some. Yeah, Rob. It seems like she's making some money. R. Kelly filing a lawsuit against Azrael. Wow. Now that's something new, you know. And you know, as I said, she was a liar. You know, in my opinion, Azrael was her and her parents were opportunists. And they would do anything. And there was a whole lot of evidence that they would do anything for fame, you know. And the latest is that you said 500,000. 500,000 ain't that long. Yeah, but that's a brand new update. Azrael is getting sued by R. Kelly. That is so interesting. R. Kelly got so many lawsuits out. Wow. So this is set for a hearing in December. We'll see how that go. There's a lot of stuff coming out of this. Wow.
Jay-Z was out to get me.
See, before I end this. I mean, this. Oh, man. Ooh-wee. Whoever did this, he did a good job. I'm gonna hit y'all with this. I ain't gonna hit y'all with the whole thing.
I would be free if it wasn't for Jay-Z. No, I'm not an angel, but everyone got dirt. Yes, I'm a flirt. It's not a fair game. We did best of both worlds, but the show turned into hell. You had your boys beat me, but in turn I acted professionally. I took it to court and won 175 million, son. Jay didn't want to pay, so they put me in this cage. It's not a fair game, so they needed me out the way. So Jay didn't have to pay. Jay-Z and Diddy, Jay and Diddy, out to get me. Break the cycle, start anew.
Wow. That's crazy. Oh man, that's funny. Oh man. Well, well. That is all I got. Appreciate everybody for tuning the live, commenting. Y'all know I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna try my best to bring y'all new information, a new update. I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try my best to dig in some sources, unheard of that nobody else ain't getting. You don't even get from Mad Pill, you know. You can get this from Mad Pill. Who else you heard of the Afriel? R. Kelly has got a lawsuit against Asher. Nobody knows. Nobody. See? Y'all know who fucks with me. Man, who fucks with me? Who fucks with your boy? Excuse my language. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. I'm on Facebook. Sorry. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. If you alive and well, you doing good in life, hit the like button. It's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to be alive and well. It's a privilege to be breathing right now. Thank God, or whoever you want to thank. Whoever you thank and whoever you pray to is your privilege. It is your right. Cindy Warren, Galatians 6:7. I know it's Labor Day. You had fun today. I had fun today. I had a whole lot of fun today. I'm chilling with the old folk, get a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge back in the day, and even get your family history, and knowing what not to do. Do what the people that was living, is the longest. Do what they are doing. All right, this will keep it. Do what they are doing. The people who in their 80s and their 90s and still walking around. I'm talking about them walking around in their right minds. Do what they do. That's what I learned today. You learn the lesson every single day. And that's where hanging around the old folks. I'm 42. I was in the closest to me was 64, 5. But it was a good day. Today was a good day. Real good day. That I got the wisdom and the knowledge that I could be here. Breathing, alive and well, doing good. And that's the purpose. Be thankful for where you are and where you at. Because you could be locked up. And this is like a lesson learned, whether, you know, yeah, R. Kelly innocent, you know, all of this. You could be like that. You could be falsely accused like a lot of black men were falsely accused. Emmett Till. And the thing about it, they use women to do it. What gets every great man locked up? You know, a woman. You know, whether he's guilty or not guilty, no matter what is his biggest downfall. Whether you believe, you know, this evidence, which I strongly believe, you know, the Supreme Court is going to do a retrial. It's definitely is going to be a retrial. This is why R. Kelly is putting out a lot of lawsuits now. I'm surprised. We got a lawsuit against Azrael. Azrael is doing well in life. Let's look at Azrael. The reason why. Azrael. Let's go into Azrael. Again, she's doing good. This is like recent. Azrael is doing like real good. Let me show you like little pictures of her. Azrael doing real good. She got a lot of attention in her. She got over $250,000. Not dollars, but excuse me, the little tongue tied. 250,000 followers on Instagram. You know. Yeah. Excuse me, y'all. I had to step away for a second. And, you know, I'm not saying against, you know, women who, you know, dress, who, you know, who models on Instagram, because I know a few of them, you know, and they're very good friends of mine. You know, I don't condemn what you do for a living and get money or whatever. I don't condemn people or judge people for what they do. I ain't God, you know. So I'm never gonna condemn anybody because they dress as sexy, because that ain't got nothing to do with how I feel about her. I'm just letting y'all just know that. So this ain't got nothing to do with her being sexy on the internet, which I do have a lot of sexy friends who, happy holidays to you too, Cindy. I do have a lot of sexy friends who has a lot of followers. You know, they have hundreds of thousands of followers who I've known personally before they had hundreds of thousands of followers, you know, but they doing well on Instagram now. And I never say nothing bad about them because, you know, I don't want to lose my friend. I don't want to judge my friends, you know, because I do love them, you know, personally. So I would never judge nobody based on what she's doing. But I do think she's an opportunist, or her family just, I blame her parents. I don't really, poor Azrael, man, for real. Poor Azrael. She got suckered into her lifestyle, and you know, her little sick father, man. I mean, daddy or whatever, her daddy-in-law, whatever that dude is to her, he just taking pictures of her on the beach and stuff like that. I mean, it's so I blame her parents. You know, it's so much, not so much to Azrael. I blame her parents, man. And the reason why I got to focus on her because he got this lawsuit coming out against her. For real. He got a lawsuit on Azrael. I can't help but laugh at. Oh, this is giving me the giggles every time I. Yeah, her parents made her part of the way. Whether she's a sexy girl flossing on the internet, but it's just she was called course by her parents first. Like they say, R. Kelly brainwashed her. No, her parents brainwashed her first. Whatever you want to say of who she was or who she is, because the thing about this, let me get this. Y'all see this? What that picture look like? Aaliyah. She wanted to be the next Aaliyah. And every girl that was their dream to be the next Aaliyah. After Aaliyah died, that was their dream. You had girls lining up. And y'all see how Aaliyah and Azriel kind of favor? Her parents dressed her up and made her to look like Aaliyah. We talking about the cute Aaliyah after they made her, you know, Aaliyah was a tomboy at first, after they made her cute and, you know, and desirable. The next Aaliyah, she always wanted to be Aaliyah. But no, her parents, I put that on her parents. Her parents, her parents wanted her to be Aaliyah, brainwashed her at a young age, trained her. I mean, they had her on. The truth gonna come out. The truth is going to reveal itself for real. The truth is gonna reveal itself. They had that girl working out at a young age, making her look right. Never know. They probably put Botox in her face at a young age. They probably was doing everything to that girl to make her look desirable. To R. Kelly. And at about an age at that. I mean, come on now. You get into the details of how in the we're talking about the toxicity in that family. It was so toxic. Now I always question how a real man gonna let his daughter, his 16-year-old daughter, say, no, dude, no, hell no. It was so ratchet in their family. All the motherfuckers was ratchet. They trained that little girl, and it ain't even her fault. It ain't her fault. So I can't even put the blame and get mad at Azrael. At the end of the day, we can't be mad at Azrael. I know I made fun of him, but goddamn, I have to be real right now. I cannot be mad at Azrael no more because the root of the problem was her parents. I could make fun of her and her fat looking mama. Mama was damn thot. Bad the parents. No, it's their fault. they coerced her into trying to be the next Aaliyah because they wanted to come up. That was the golden child, as read. Look at her now. She barely making it for herself. Of course, she got 250,000 followers. Ooh-wee. But she making good because she got some tricks on the side. She got some people putting a little money into her. But she ain't nothing. You don't hear her music on the radio. The only reason why I say she may be doing well is because, of course, she's gonna have somebody putting some money into making sure she's straight because she's a cute little girl. And that's how it goes with the Instagramness. You're gonna always be good. You're gonna always have some show little things on the sides. You're gonna always have a nigga that's gonna have put you in a nice home. He gonna always have that. And that's what that's real. She good, but her parents ain't straight now. No. She ain't living good like, oh, she got the bread and it's popping. No, she good is in ninjas still putting money into it and investing in it. You can look it all down on her Instagram right now. I mean, you could see, like, hold on, let me go back into Azrael doing good, man. She in mansions and you got all type of, I'm talking about taking pictures in Dubai. And you don't never know what she doing. Like, what would I say, Aaliyah? Right. The Aaliyah. I'm telling you, she ain't doing. That's what she wanted to be. R. Kelly's Aaliyah. In the beginning, her parents seen that big ass goddamn contract. The big ass contract. She was gonna be the biggest star in the world. They ain't the shit all of that. I don't know what the fuck they're doing now. But I guarantee you they working hard. No matter what business I think they had some type of business that they were doing. They were funding their daughter. That bring a whole lot of money to the fund. It costs a whole lot of money to fund. We gonna kick stupid ass dudes out of here because you don't know what I'm gonna say. Drake, your bitch ass out of here. You gonna get your ass up out of here. Yeah. The whole thing is we blame the parents. The parents take responsibility how would they make this girl out now. It ain't her. It's the parents. This is why Israel like that. I mean, I don't know how she would have turned out afterwards, but yeah, lawsuit. R. Kelly is suing Azrael, but R. Kelly should be suing her parents for defamation of character. It's gonna be a lot of defamation lawsuits, and this is where it started. R. Kelly get the Supreme Court grant R. Kelly a new trial. And it gets dismissed based off of the state don't want to pay for a new trial. Millions of R. Kelly been in jail for how many years, y'all? 5 years. Like I say, when the Supreme Court grant a new trial, the millions of dollars, nah, that's gonna get into the taxpayers' money. Nope. Donald Trump, or this is good. A new president. This is see, this couldn't have came at the right time because the president, right? The presidential race. You see, R. Kelly got the presidential race on his side. This couldn't have come. But yeah, they turned this little girl to a monster. No. I mean, she's doing well. I mean, I tell R. Kelly to sue the parents. That's where it started. Sue the parents. You gotta sue the parents. All the parents. Everybody in surviving R. Kelly. Everybody in surviving R. Kelly. All the parents need to be sued. All they all they parents need to be sued. But he had a close relationship with Azrael. That's the deal. This is why he's going after Azrael. Because R. Kelly had a close relationship with her. And he feels some type of way still. How she betrayed him. Hell yeah, he feels some type. She just dumped him. Just out of nowhere. Just dumped him. How would you feel you was in love with somebody like they just dump you and just leave? Yeah, that's why he going after her first. He got to get her parents. He got to get the parents. Y'all gonna see he gonna get the he but I felt him. I felt him. He is he going after Azrael. I think if anybody he wanna get, he wanna get Azrael. He wanna break her for everything he can, anything he can do for Azrael to get back, and how she done it and what he done and what she done to him. What Azrael did to R. Kelly, he's gonna do everything in his power to get back at her. I guarantee you. Because she did him wrong. She got on Gail King's show, MSNBC, whatever the hell that was, national TV in front of the world, and claimed that R. Kelly was innocent and had his back. Then turned on him. and said he was a monster. That's proof that she ain't got her own mind. How you gonna switch up like that? A solid person who has their own mind will never switch up. That's how you know who's solid in the case and who in your corner. They'll never switch up and they'll never tell on you. She switched up on them. That's how you know she ain't got her own mind. That she's easily manipulated. She switched up on Kels. And that's when her parents' ear. And that was through the public making her switch up. Gail King was they had them damn counselors in the back manipulating them into telling, back when it was backstage, and her and Jocelyn gave that interview defending R. Kelly. After they had all of the counselors waiting on them, trying to counsel them backstage. Swear to God, the top therapist in the world. I swear to God. How is that fair to R. Kelly? Think about that, y'all. Just think about that shit. They had the top therapist in the world. Swear to God. To greet them backstage. Constantly had they numbers, they contacts. Talk to them for hours after the interview to persuade them. Kept in contact with them. It was unfair to R. Kelly because he had all these experts, Jocelyn and Azrael had all these world-renowned experts in a ear. After they gave that interview, when they came to that interview, it was a trap. It was a trap. And they got in their ear. The parents behind it, that's how they changed. R. Kelly couldn't win. Azrael had experts. Jocelyn had experts, the best manipulating experts in their ear. Therapists, the world's best therapists in the world. We talking about Indian therapists and Chinese therapists, the advanced therapists in their ear. Come on, man. You tell me they persuade them. That's how they changed. When they went to Gayle King, it was a trap. It was a trap. And they got in their ear. and they funky ass, dirtbag ass daddy, meaning like, oh, I miss my daughter and all this. I was like, he the king manipulator. He's the real manipulator. Him and her damn mom. Excuse me. Him and her damn mom. Excuse me. They all on CNN and ABC. Tweeting and shit. She did him wrong. And it's gonna come back to bite her because she is all in Banjing's mouth, right? She's gonna be used as a Supreme Court's looking at Azrael. Azrael is the key. I believe Azrael is one of the big keys for R. Kelly's freedom, not beyond the statute of limitation, because it's a clear win on the statute of limitation if you want to go there to give him a new trial. But if it was a new trial, I know we ain't talked about a new trial. If he did get a new trial and it go on again, say for instance, they want to bring they paid millions of dollars to get the new trial. How would R. Kelly win that trial? And do the victims want to go back and relive, the so-called victims want to go back on the stand, and do the families want to go back through that all over again? We talking about this trial could last a year, shit. For real. In which I think time is going to be served. 5 years. But Azrael is the key. I think Azrael, this is the reason why you got a lawsuit out on Azrael. So here in 7th December, R. Kelly got a lawsuit out on Azrael. Think he got a whole lot of his feelings invested in that, yeah. How she done him? She done R. Kelly wrong. But Joycelyn too. Where is Joycelyn? Like, where is Joycelyn right now? Anybody know where Joycelyn is at? That's the other one. Where's Joycelyn? Let's look up Joycelyn, man. I'm trying to find Joycelyn. While we at this, where can we find Joycelyn, man? Bear with me, y'all. I'm typing Joycelyn. Let's see what we last can get Joycelyn at. Joycelyn ain't nowhere to be found. You see, y'all can see me. Where you at, Joycelyn, man? This is the last 2020. Let me find. She planned to write a love and tell all titled Love and Joy of Robert. Did she write that book? Did that book ever come out? Anybody in the chat know of? Do anybody know what book that ever came out with Joycelyn? Love and Tell All of R. Kelly. No. Joycelyn is like literally in hiding. Uh, Nobody ain't seen her in 2 years back. Mm. Hmm. Well, let me go to another source. Let me see if we can find Joycelyn, man. Let's see if we can find that. You can find on Instagram. I know I did this before. Let's see. Okay. All right. So this is Joycelyn's real Instagram. Okay. Like she don't do much on here. She got 95. She only got 7 points and 95 key followers. There's nothing. I mean, Pink Ice, what's good? What's up? I can't find nothing on Joycelyn. Nothing. Joycelyn is a ghost. For real. She only got 7 posts. How did she get all these followers? She ain't following nobody but. You know where if you can find anything latest on Joycelyn, can anybody post in a chat? Send it to me. Send me the link in the chat. Can't find that. She's a ghost. She like MIA. Joycelyn is she's a ghost. You can't find her nowhere. She done disappeared. But Azrael, she's all flamboyant. She's all out. She all out there. Like, this is the difference between Joycelyn and Azrael. See, Azrael, she's all out there. She's modeling. She's taking pictures. She living her best life. Look at that. Look at it. Azrael. But Joycelyn, you can't find her nowhere. She gone. And this is what R. Kelly is talking about. Right? R. Kelly, the part of R. Kelly lawsuit is R. Kelly suing for the pain and suffering. It's a lot of pain and suffering. He just turned on him. But damn, no Joycelyn. Like Joycelyn she just disappeared. And what's this book that she got? what's this book that she got? Pink Ice, do you know about that book? Cindy, what about you? Do you know about that book that Joycelyn supposed to have been wrote? Why she disappeared like nobody ain't had no TMZ can't even find her. Like if TMZ can't find you, then yeah. Jeez. Yeah, she gone. Yeah, she gone. She gone. Joycelyn, she she don't do no social. That's a good thing he did, goes. No social media. You know, just go to work. I don't know where she work at. She probably work from home from a telemarketing place. But she ain't got to be in public. And probably was she, doing some phone operating. You know, that's what she probably do. She ain't doing OnlyFans or nothing like that. She ain't that type of girl. You know, she was never really that type. She was always quiet and reserved a little bit. She was feisty, but she undercover. Yeah, she got some from at home job. You know, she probably cut her hair off and probably changed her identity a little bit. Never know where Joycelyn is at. You know what I'm saying? She probably don't wear no makeup no more. Probably cut all her hair off like Jada Pinkett or something like that. You don't know who Joycelyn is. You see her in the streets, you won't even know who she is. She's walking amongst the people because nobody know who she normalized herself. She cut herself off from social media. All that stuff. Oh, I'm in Cancun and I'm a girl trip. Everybody know her location and shit. Like, no, she don't do that. She ain't got none of that. Joycelyn living just a normal life. So nobody know where the hell she at. Don't nobody know where she at. Don't nobody know no updates on her. Now what's up with that? She just totally put herself off into. She probably was able to change her social security number and all her identity fully. She probably ain't Joycelyn no more. It probably was it. She probably wanted to lose everything, like, to save herself. Who knows? She changed, you know, changed her name. Her whole self. Nobody knows who the hell she is. And that's like, you know, unheard of. We know she's still alive, but because you say Joycelyn was a ride or die. Yeah. There he was. I'm looking at this R. Kelly music. Oh my gosh. I ain't gonna play no more of this 35,000 songs. I'm gonna just let it be. Uh, no, but that's the latest. That's the latest scoop. Latest little scoop. Y'all know I gotta go into details when I explain some stuff. I gotta go into details. I gotta go into details. Wednesday. Oh yeah. I got a big announcement Wednesday. So stay tuned, y'all. Wednesday. Got a big announcement Wednesday. Get the notifications. Get the notifications. And I got up to date. I'm gonna have up to dates. Up to dates every time I come live. So if y'all know if y'all know when I come live, it's gonna be an up to date. It's gonna be a real, true up to date. No fake news here. It's gonna be accurate news. So y'all trust me. I want y'all to trust me. It's a trusted source, Matt P. And if you mess with me on every subject. I do. Every subject. I got a whole lot more. I got a whole lot a lot of shorts I'm gonna be creating. So support that. Appreciate that, Pink Ice. Appreciate you. Uh, if you enjoyed y'all Labor Day, y'all enjoyed y'all Labor Day, hit that like button, hit the one in the chat. Again, at a hip hop legend, I'm gonna be interviewing in the next few weeks. I'm gonna reveal it later this week. So I'll be sure to hit the notifications. The hip hop legend. Y'all don't want to miss that. It's been good. It's been real good. It's been real good. Well, to all my Facebook people, make sure y'all hit the link at the bottom. Just for the playback. I say for the playback. Anybody that come to Facebook, Hit the link at the bottom. Make sure you subscribe. Now, make sure you follow and subscribe. Yeah. Follow and subscribe. Hit the like button. It gets that algorithm up. Keeps people coming in. And I promise y'all I'm gonna bring y'all good stuff. You know. Appreciate it. Pink Eye Cindy. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Galatians 6:7. That's some deep, good comments. Rob, my brother. Rob. Constance. Jeff. Rodney. Yeah. Send me videos. Send me to my inbox. Send me videos to the email. Your Facebook. Send it to the messenger. Facebook Messenger. If you got any new updates you want me to share, I will share it. If it's on the subject at hand. Appreciate y'all being up in the live. It's a good live at night. See y'all Wednesday. Prime time. Same time. What time is it now? What time is it? Time is it, Mr. 12 o'clock. Yeah. Blessings to you. Pink Ice. Chastity. Yeah, Chastity. Chastity yesterday on live. She claimed to be an R. Kelly, a dancer for R. Kelly. She was supposed to get on the live, but I was hoping to get her here for her to be today, but I haven't seen her on the live. That would have been a good treat to have her on a live. Chastity claims to be an R. Kelly ex-dancer. We want to hear from her. That's why y'all gotta keep the notifications, because you never know what might pop up from R. Kelly's past, you know. Go to the last video, look for Chastity. She claims to be ex-R. Kelly's dancer. She was gonna come on the live, but hope to get her in the future. I'm just say it like that. So hit the notifications, y'all. Yeah, we got some good stuff to come. I appreciate everybody for joining the live tonight. I shout y'all out. Please shout outs in the comment. Keep the algorithm up. Join me on Wednesday. Peace, everybody. Love to y'all. Blessings. Wealth. Abundance. Again, peace. Peace to everybody. Love to everybody in the chat. Long life. Peace, long life to everybody in the chat and to your families.